All right, welcome back to the program. We still continue with our entertainment conversation, and on set I'm still joined by Joshua Moracha, who now describes himself as a contemporary musician. That's good to say, not a gospel musician.
Yeah, that's safe.
That's it's safe to say contemporary, because your music is geared towards the society and positivity and good vibes.
Yeah,
you can
good
say.
Vibes, definitely.
Okay, so we talked about a bit of your inspiration, which I also want to believe is the same as what motivates you as a person.
Yeah.
So for this while in which at least you've been doing music, and this is again in regards to the solo artistry, when you look at your career as a person, perhaps in the next 3 or 5 years, where do you see yourself? Is it still doing inspirational music? You might perhaps move to something different.
I said earlier that my inspiration also comes from people like Lucky Dube and the rest.
Yeah.
You know, that means a lot of maturity in content and the music setup as a whole. So I would want to see myself performing with a band.
Really love that, the band.
Yeah, the band thing, you know, it's really wholesome. It's not computerized music, as I may put it. Yeah, I would like to be a full-time performing artist in 5 years.
So when you say that you would really perhaps want to see yourself, you know, performing in a band, then where does it leave the solo artistry, or perhaps do them together?
Yeah, it rides along the band.
Okay.
Yeah, I would want to believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, also, when you talk about your style, because your first single was done in Kisii dialect, and you said that, you know, Charity begins at home, and you also have other unreleased songs which are done in the same. How would you describe your style per se?
Okay, being a musician, it would be a little bit clearer to me than you, maybe. I don't know if you sing or not.
I don't sing, I'm not.
Yeah, you know, being a musician is more of... How do I put it? A midwife?
Okay.
You don't know what's gonna come out.
But at least, you know, some artists will tell you, for me, like, perhaps it's Afro-pop, it is inspirational music, it's, you know, the different styles of music.
You're right.
It's kapuka, you know, there's even kapuka in gospel.
Yeah, that's very funny.
It's very interesting, but now we have it.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah.
What I would say is, when I say you don't know what would come out, means a message comes to you.
Okay.
It's more of an inspiration. You get these things differently. It could come as ballad, it could come as Afrofusion, it could come as kapuka, like you put it.
Okay.
So you won't say, I would stick to this like for forever, because messages come differently, and you don't twist the message for the suitability of what you think you ascribe yourself to as reggae, pop, and blah. So you just deliver the message as it comes. Yeah.
So it's a question of being flexible,
you're flexible
as a musician.
And versatile.
Okay, that's beautiful. Flexible and versatile as an artist.
Yeah.
Okay. How is it working with a spouse?
Yeah, the spouse.
Yeah.
Actually, she's yet another very serious inspiration behind my pursuit of music. Yeah. Because she has a voice I would die for.
Very beautiful voice, by the way.
Yeah, so I would also really love to produce her. I still produce her currently, but I'd love to make her better and better. Better and better.
You know, sometimes there's always that question of it's difficult to like disintegrate the two. You know, being you are a spouse and again also working together. That environment.
Yeah, that environment. Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough.
So it's actually tough.
Yeah,
it's not as easy as people think. You know, sometimes they say, you know, we're just a spouse. We are a spouse. You know, this is the husband, the wife. So we are good all together.
No, at times you have to rub shoulders so that you bring the best out of one another. Yeah. Because I know I'm a perfectionist, and I love things down to the letter. So at times we rub shoulders and the wrong way, but we have to come back to an agreement that we're doing this for for the dream of becoming these kind of musicians.
Yeah, that is nice. Now, what about collabos? Do you perhaps envision yourself doing collabos with different artists here and there? Could be by way of cuts across, just as how you've described yourself. Which kind of artist?
I look up to a number of artists in our country. We have very beautiful gospel musicians. Like you can talk of Garden Angel, you can talk of Gloria, you know, and the list goes on.
There's something about Garden Angel, by the way. I think a lot of gospel artists will tell you, I'd love to do music with this person.
Oh yeah. He's really good at what he's doing, and he's passionate about it. And you can feel the connection between the gospel itself and the gospel artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is one of the artists you perhaps want to collaborate with.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you feel like your styles might merge, or how you see things, and perhaps how you write.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Then what would you say are your strengths as an artist? Because there's so many things. Just before a song is released, there's so much that goes into it.
Oh yeah. You know, before a song comes out, it's not just a song coming out.
Yeah.
There's the writing aspect of it. There's the recording aspect of it, which would take you months. Could take you months, and there's
just
video.
Record a 3-minute song.
Yes, it could take you months. Yeah, because you could record, and whatever you had felt about the song before you went recording does not come out the way you'd envisioned it. So you have to go back and start from scratch until you get the right thing. And then that's recording part of it. That's audio. And then there's video. You have to get the perfect locations to match the message. You have to get the right props, like they call it, the camera people, the logistics, the attire, and all those things before something comes out. And then now there's the distribution, the music distribution. It's a little bit hectic lately, because you cannot get people gathered together and do a performance or something.
Sometimes at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time.
And that is one thing that people really don't understand, that you could watch or listen to that 3-minute audio or a 4-minute video, and you do not understand that this actually sometimes would even take a year to record that, 3. So there's really a lot to be appreciated on the arts, in the arts business. So now when you come to all those aspects which you just mentioned, from the writing to the recording to even gathering people, getting instrumentalists, it's a whole production process. Where does your strength lie?
We had talked about it.
As an artist?
As an artist, I told you, with the band background, you get to understand a few things. So it makes it easier for you when you're doing it for yourself. So like you can play an instrument or two, and I'm also a music producer. So I walk myself into a studio, I do the sequencing myself, I record myself and my wife, and do the mixing, mastering. And then now the problem would begin at the video stage.
So it's not so why I was asking is because I really wanted to get if you write your own music.
Definitely.
You write your own music.
I do.
So it's also one of those strengths.
Yeah, it's also a strength.
Okay, why I really wanted to find out is because, again, you would hear, especially, and this really cuts across, most especially in the gospel space, that you would hear some people say that, for me, I feel like since I feel like I was called, I should do everything for myself. And perhaps your gifting is singing. You realize that some can only sing well, but can't quite write well. And sometimes there's a tricky balance, because you tend to imagine, okay, so if I write you the song and you sing, so how do you even cut the cost? So that sometimes becomes a tricky balance.
Yeah, it is, but when you define it professionally, there are people who are strictly writers. They just write, they teach you what they wrote, you go sing, you go record, and it ends at that. So you pay them as the writer, and it ends there. You pick up the song from there and you go record. So you could do it professionally.
Okay, so it's also a question of understanding where your strength is and where you are gifted at.
Definitely.
Okay, because I'm saying, like, guys like Pitson really write good music for good artists, but wangeimba wenyewe ungeimagine haingetoka hivi, but pia huyu kama angeandika haingetoka hivi. So it's just a question of understanding where your strength is, and what you really can focus on mostly as an artist.
Very true.
Now, when you look at the challenging beat of really being an artist, there's a lot that comes with artistry, music as a whole, and even just the art space. What has it been like for you in terms of you would say that this actually was the time where I felt like, by the way, I want to give up, but you still kept on either way?
I remember, like, this, the Kissy song, the Ogotebre song, I recorded it the first time. I recorded it to completion. So I was left with mixing, mastering. Then thereafter, I walked back to the studio the next day, and I think I was exhausted the previous night. So I pressed the wrong buttons. I didn't save the session. So opening, it was just a blank folder. There was nothing inside. So ilikuwa imepotea. So you have to start from scratch. And creating means you won't, you cannot do the same thing the same way, So you have to go back and try doing the same thing the same way, but definitely it would come out differently, because now it's a different feeling. And so that could be one of the challenges, like losing a project. It happens a lot, because in the digital space you can press the wrong buttons easily. So
it needs expertise,
and some luck.
So that for you, that has been the challenging bit.
Yeah, that is one.
Okay.
2, definitely money.
Yeah, because I was wondering, like, hey, uni msanii mgani asemi?
No,
It
definitely.
has never been an issue.
Yeah, there's the money aspect, because you need money to run literally everything. Literally everything.
Okay.
Logistics, paying the bills, the studio, the videographers, good outfit. Yeah, you would judge me like you see me.
Yeah,
like
it
they
just
say,
goes.
So you would address me like I dress, like you said.
Yeah.
So you need money to run everything, which comes scarcely, being an artist. And of course, I would say it doesn't really pay much currently, especially now with this pandemic thing. There are no shows, nothing, so we're only left with passion to run us.
And sometimes we might downgrade the passion aspect bit, but you realize that is what keeps you going regardless, because sometimes things might never really work out the way you want, and sometimes you do not have control over how things turn out. Like the way you mentioned this pandemic, who even knew it will stretch this far and affect this kind of sector. So the only thing you really actually are left with is passion, that I loved this craft, so I'll do it. Okay, speaking about the pandemic now and the digital space, because a lot of artists really just channeled their energies there. They put their craft and content there. Yours is also there, especially on YouTube. How would you say the social and the digital space has at least, made you continue to stay afloat in what you're doing?
Yeah, I can tell you for free that without the digital space, we would have not gone this far, especially during this pandemic thing. Number one, we don't have crowds anymore. We don't have churches anymore. We don't have clubs anymore and any other sorts of gatherings. So trying to put people together to listen to your music or whatever you've come up with would be a problem. Up until now, the digital space helps us to put across the messages and releases that we have. So without which Ninacho could still be in the shelves waiting for the pandemic to cease. And then we come back with content and try, passing it across.
All right, so how regularly do you stay relevant in the digital space? Because again, you realize the digital space is, it's how you can even make business is how relevant you stay there, perhaps how long you take to post or how long you take to interact.
Yeah, knowing that is number one, very key.
You need to understand that.
There are dynamics there that you really need to adhere to. And number one would be keeping your people posted, keeping them in check, giving them something for a day. At least don't be quiet for 2 consecutive days, 2-3 days. Give them something.
You're waiting to release a song.
Oh yeah, no. Give them a pic. Talk to people. Give them replies, the comments and stuff. That way you remain relevant and keep your audience,
stick to, at least they know what you have for them. Now, speaking about the interaction and also what perhaps your fans might comment and how they receive your music, what does this do for you as an artist?
Well, it does way much further than you might think.
Okay.
Because now without the monies, I said we only left with passion. And therefore, now with this kind of passion, you would need someone to tell you, hey, that was good. The voices were good.
To appreciate your craft.
Appreciate and say something positive and speak life, So when your fans, when your audience is positive about what you're doing, it adds some life to your passion. You'd say, oh, I have reason to keep on doing this. At least there's someone appreciating this.
That is beautiful. So as we bring the conversation to a close, Joshua, what next for you as an artist? What should we expect from you?
Yeah, there's much more coming. I've just begun.
You've just begun.
I've just begun.
So there's a whole future laid out.
Oh, there's way much more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Thank you so much for coming through and at least talking to us about your music. At least now we understand how it is like, being in a band and doing solo artistry and following what you love and understanding the importance of passion in your craft. All right.
Thank you.
That has been Joshua Moracha, a contemporary artist doing music and at least trying to use the digital platform to continue just putting forth his craft. So I will now want to leave you with his latest song, even as we just gear on to the next segment. This is Ninacho. Take a look.
Na 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 na, hey. Hana kosa, aliyekosa, si makosa, mtu kukosa kitu. Ombi lililo moyoni mwangu Baba ni kama Daudi, nisikose niipe, visijae niringe. Ombi lililo moyoni mwangu Baba ni kama Daudi, nisikose niipe, visijae niringe. Natamani ndilo lingekuwa ombi la dunia, sioni kama kungekuwa madaraja kimaisha. Hey, natamani ndilo lingekuwa ombi la dunia. Oh, oh. Sioni kama kungekuwa madaraja kimaisha. Hey.
Siseme ninacho,
Nawacheka walokosa, maradufu utapata, kimsaidia lokosa.
usiseme ninacho,
Nawacheka walokosa, maradufu utapata, ukimbalie kosa. Hey, no, 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 no. Tizo, wambie, hey.
umseme mwenzako, hujamsaidia, wagawie ulo navyo, wanakutarajia. Umseme mwenzako, hujamsaidia, wagawie ulo navyo, wanakutarajia. Wewe asiende uchi ukimwona, yeah, yeah, ndiye Mungu nayemwona.
Namwomba Mungu.
Wewe usitupe mlo akikuomba, yeah, yeah, ndiye Mungu nayemwona. Maandiko yanasema
Hana kosa, aliyekosa, si makosa, mtu kukosa kitu. Hana kosa, aliyekosa, si makosa, mtu kukosa kitu.
usiseme ninacho,
Nawacheka walokosa, maradufu utapata, kimsaidia lokosa.
usiseme ninacho,
Nawacheka walokosa, maradufu utapata, ukimbalie kosa.
Hello. Glad you are still with us. Welcome back to the program. This is Good Morning Kenya Kama Kawaida. We are glad you are still with us. We want to get into the final segment for today's show, and this is Trending Topics, aka Udaku Sesh. Ambao ndo tunawaambia udaku yenye imekuwa ikiendelea throughout the week on the socials, and we also just get to share with you our thoughts in regards to these stories, and whatever we say here shall not be used against us. Your disclaimer, yeah, segment. All right. We welcome you to be part of this conversation using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. At KBC Channel 1 is the official station handle. Huyu hapa juu ni Dorina Range. Huyu hapa kando ni Fikita Olo. Na huyu hapa diagonally, hapa juu ndio huyo ni Madam Governor in charge of the Mira in the country.
Madam Gang
At Regina Manyara is how you can get her on the socials.
I hope Meru County has heard I need to be the CEC of trade in the next political year. Sawa? CEC trade.
Babe.
Watu wakiendas. Napenda
Anyway,
kiendas.
guys, mi hata kwanza niwaanzie. I'm a gospel artist.
So
Mara huku, just the other day kulikuwa na incident ya Mr. Seed. Then sasa kuna DNA zimeconfirmiwa. But hiyo ni udaku ya next week. Tuanze na hii wiki na tuende Nyamira County.
Before tuende Nyamira, wacha niseme tu something about gospel artists. Kidogo tu. You know when you're in high school, kuna wale watu wenye wanalidingi CU.
Bas.
Inaonekana all of you have had an encounter and interacted with those people who are holier than thou.
Yes.
At some point, wewe mwenye haukai ka unajua kuimba worship song.
Mwenye dhambi tukuite hivyo.
You are walking sin. 10 years later or 5 years later, you're done with high school. Unatembea Nairobi mkihaso. Watu wenye unakutana now and the things that they're doing,
my God,
they make you rethink your status in as far as Christian faith is concerned. And that is what is happening to our gospel artists. The things we're hearing every day.
Yeah.
How do you call, like, okay, fine, what is this term gospel artist? Does it make you less of a sinner, more of a saint? Or are we expecting too much and humans are to error? But you know what? I'd rather your actions speak louder than your words. You know, like there's a preacher who says, and I think you've seen that clip on social media, says, guys, listen to what I say, not what I do. Because I'm human. And I am through the grace of God. So here we have gospel artists, wanaangusha brand.
But I think just the way you said, Ray, it's like that term gospel artist, there's just a lot of expectation that perhaps we might have as a society in regards to this person, that we forget they are human. And you really rightly put it, human is to error. But then again, if you're choosing to do gospel artists, you're choosing to do gospel ministry, remember that you are representing something. You are a representation. So also choose yourself. That's why some people will say, me, and I'm not a gospel artist, I'm not a secular one, I just do contemporary music. Yani nafanya muziki, I'm doing this, but I just do positive music, I do inspirational music, because that title in itself carries a lot
of responsibility.
It does.
And you know, we can't always be turning to the society has a lot placed on that particular title, because when you are associating yourself with it, you know all too well what it comes with. But squeezy, unapata, it's just business.
Yeah.
Basically, you know,
there's money in the church. Victor.
You know, people do this thing for business purposes. We all know about that. There are two things here: doing business, actually three: doing business, and salvation, and just being a real gospel artist. That this is your art, and go and make sure that you perfect that craft properly.
The ministry itself.
The ministry. For example, if you look at, let me just give an example of reggae, the internationally renowned reggae artists. When you get to know that that is your craft, stick to it. And by the way, if you're doing gospel music, don't do it today and then you say because churches are closed because of COVID, now there are no music, there are no churches, there are no gigs, now you want to drift to secular music. We will judge you. You get it? We will judge you. So let your music speak to us. Through the salvation, if you're saved, if you're using the music to spread the gospel, we will notice. And by the way, you won't even force your music to sell. It will just sell itself.
And for those of you who are wondering what is going on, ingia pale Instagram, tafuta handle ya His Tea Highness Edgar Obare himself. Hapo kwa highlights utaona Seed. Go and read. Let me warn you, the grammar in that thread has been massacred. Hey.
But the message is out.
Rest in peace, grammar. But the message has been communicated in regards to that incident.
Yeah.
I had a hard time reading those messages, but you are able to comprehend. But nonetheless,
now we have a cousin who has a cousin who has a kid who is a father who is
now the father is
and still a representation of the
child.
same.
You know. But then again,
not to see Oreo. Oh.
Yeah. but Jen, I just have a question before we go to the next story.
Yeah.
What is this craze about washing our dirty linen in public and on social media. What is this craze about?
Nafikanga when push comes to shove.
I don't think that's the
Even
case.
in this incident involving Mr. Sid, that was the situation.
I don't think that is the case. I mean, why? I mean, this is the situation here.
Bitterness.
When push comes to shove?
And the only alternative you have?
Did they get any solution out of that? You wash your dirty linen,
Rent
people
was
contribute.
paid for the Oreo people.
I mean, the whole of this week has just been a crazy one.
Because I enjoy Oreo.
Yeah? The whole of this week, you know, people talking
I didn't like
about...
that Oreo business by them. Mbona mnaignona nasema?
Ndio hiyo
Sikupenda
anataka
hiyo
kucomment.
Oreo business. Victor,
Yes.
Oreo. You know Oreo? The biscuit with some cream in the middle. You dunk it. You don't know that ad? Oreo. Oreo. Victor, you know Oreo. So people are showing up at people's houses at 2 a.m. carrying 2 pieces of Oreo. Was 50 shillings. Moving on swiftly. Jen, we took over your session. We are done with the gospel industry.
But of course we're waiting to see how that story will evolve because hii tumesikia leo tutaona hiyo ni udaku session next week. So tuanze na tulikuwa tunaenda na Nyamira. And this is a question of how far is too far where your in-laws are involved. So there's this couple walikuwa tukua vizuri wako na kang'ombe and then a relative from the husband's side came to visit agake. You know the way you have your own way of doing your own things in your house. Kama mko na ng'ombe kuna saa kukamuliwa maziwa iko na kazi hivi. So this kaki aliamka his 13 by the way akasema anataka maziwa fresh kutoka kwa the ng'ombe. Akaambiwa bro sasa hii tushakamua na tushapanga kijitatumika maybe hadi kesho. Kijana akafanya nini? Akasema sawa lakini kimoyo moyo amecatch the deadly. In the middle of the night at 4 a.m. he set the cow on fire.
Set the cow on fire?
Yes.
The one that's supposed to be producing the milk that you're asking for.
Akisema alinyimwa a cup of milk. So what will you do? Burn the cow.
So how are you supposed to continue getting that milk either way?
So probably he was warming the milk in the cow straight.
The whole thing together.
Kakua nyama choma.
Yes.
Imagine.
Value addition.
4 a.m. akaamka akaenda akachoma ng'ombe.
Ama you wanted a nyama choma na maziwa.
You know? Then I remember Western ndio wanasemanga kuna ile bangi kali ama?
But what levels of entitlement is this, you guys?
Yeah.
Umekuja kutembea. You want to come and dictate how you want things to be done. And when things don't go according to how you want them to, you resort to destroying somebody else's property. Ebu tuanze na wewe Viki, because it was a young teenage boy who did this. He's 17.
Those are boys who just need some kind of whipping thoroughly. I mean, that is the biggest level of disrespect. I mean, you're just 17. At 17, you are a juvenile, all right? By all means. Proper upbringing and foundation and, discipline. That's what matters. Hey, boss, how do you just get to my home? Alafu chume ng'ombe yangu. Kwani you kontaka maziwa na nyama choma?
Kikombe moja ya maziwa.
Hapana. Just be, you know what? By this kind of generation that it's coming up right now, that when they're told something, when I'm like, daddy, don't touch that. Hapana, tafadhali, don't do that. Listen. The late William Olotula would whip you at 5 a.m. na kutusi na jina mama yako akikiona. That was it. And we're still here. I mean, it's just about a matter of upbringing because, if it's about daddy, mommy, daddy, mommy, until afike 20, afike 20 ataki kutoka kwa nyumba, bado anaitwa daddy na mommy, 25, 26, 27, daddy na mommy, 30, 31, daddy na mommy. Jen tuendelee.
It's just the sense of entitlement for me, and also what Vic is saying, the upbringing, because I mean it's just courteous when you go to even just to visit someone, leave even alone the in-law part. When you just go to visit, as in when they say when you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. See, it just dictates everywhere. When you go to a place, you are supposed to behave and act like how they do. It is their place. Now, when it comes to the in-law bit of it, where did the boundaries go? There needs to be boundaries. Because again, you see, when you marry someone, your brother, your sister, now by default, they become your extended family. This now becomes your nuclear family. So boundaries just have to be set.
Dre,
okay.
Tukifunga your story, trend the next.
Other than bangi, I'll say this. I know Western what to vuta hiyo kitu tunambianga, but we don't know if this guy was high on bang, but yeah.
Anachoma ng'ombe yako.
Not even that. You know, this person needs to be behind bars at this point. Why? That's an arson attack.
He was arrested, by the way. Yeah.
Yes. And let's not negotiate it at a family level because only mtoto wa so and so and so and so. So if we did not if he was not taught a lesson while he was a child, 17 is not too late. Wacha afungwe, funguliwe mashtaka. Because God forbid, what if the whole homestead went up in flames? What would we be talking about? That people and property perish because of a glass of milk. And I'm the owner of the cow, please. We joke too much.
And mind
Moving
you,
on, next.
the Nyamira County Commissioner, that is Amos Mariba, he actually expressed concern over the rising cases of substance abuse among the youth there.
I said it.
And he said that this could be linked to that.
Victor.
Yeah.
Doreen? Present. Aya, moving on, Jay.
Ama shemeji. Sasa, twende kwa mwingine mwenye. Wanasemanga ukiwachwa?
Wachika.
Ukiwachwa fanya nini?
Wachika.
Rudia tena ukiwachwa
Please,
fanya nini?
ukiwachwa, wachika.
Twende Korea. There's this lady, apparently, she went to all levels to try and make her ex jealous. Do you know what she did? A chick put together an entire fake wedding. Time ya COVID, mind you. She involved her family, got a bridal party, hired a groom, bought a gown, photographer, hired a venue.
Call me when
just
you're
to
done
make
with
her ex jealous
Wow.
that she's married.
People have
And
money
then,
like that
so
to waste.
what is the end game?
Ex attack will respond.
Akia Mungu. That's what I want. That's
This
what I
is
wanted
the
to
highest
hear.
level of hurt you can
Is it-
get.
Do you know how much a wedding costs on average? On average, it's around 800K, and this is in Kenya.
Let me see
Yes.
my tea.
Now, these are people that she is hiring,
Time, money,
even involving her family,
yes.
to walk her down the
To make your
aisle.
ex to feel waru.
As in,
Only to
Mr.
come-
Manyara to nitoe Mr. Manyara and Mrs. Manyara from their day-to-day businesses. Noambie, Mom, Dad, you need to walk me out down the aisle
make your
because
ex
I need
feel-
to make some man
make somebody-
jealous because
Aye.
they left me.
Because enough time to waste.
They'll take me to hospital. Not hospital, a mental institution because I've lost my marbles. Ukiwachwa, achika. But what I like right now is a new trend where when you are meachwa, na wakaitikia kuwachwa, they're throwing divorcee parties.
happily never after.
You know,
Wow.
I was there, did that, and now I'm done. Whoop, whoop. Now that's the
Wow.
kind of party we want. See ati tunaitwa ati now we are seated in the bridal party and it's all fake.
And mind you, this is like a young chick. She's in her mid-20s.
She needs psychological support and help. I think she's dealing with withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
She does not know how to deal with loss because that is an aspect of loss. People handle loss differently. And that's why we're also having a lot of issues when it comes to gender-based violence. I don't know if, Jane, you have that story I've seen trending on the Usikimi page. I think this is the time we also bring up that story. So now we've
Wenye
moved from,
wanakataa kuachika.
we are moving from Korea and coming back to Kenya. And this is a very sad state of affairs. I'm sure if you're online, you must have come up,
Come across
see
it.
this story. It's regards Jacqueline Karemi. And the pictures shared are gory. You know? So she was living with her boyfriend of 8 years, that is Mr. Stanley Owino. This is a case that has already been reported, so we're not just sensationalizing this conversation.
Yeah.
Until last year when they parted ways. Now he had had numerous affairs, so he was promiscuous. So she moved out, and after she moved out and left him, Stanley Owino, that's when her problems began. Stanley falls in the category of hataki kuachwa.
Alikataa kuachika.
Amekataa kuachika. So Stanley continued threatening her. The first time, he followed her and stabbed her. And that was in November last year. She reported the incident and even went to hospital. He disappeared and was never arrested. So come January 5th, this year, 2021, Stanley attacked her again and stabbed her in the back, amongst other places in her body. And this is what he claimed and said, that if he could not have her, no one else would. So Jacqueline was admitted in hospital, fighting for her life. Upon release, she opted to move out of the estate, change her phone line number, start afresh in a completely new neighborhood. And this matter was still reported to the authorities, but he managed to evade the long arm of justice. He fled again. So this is dated 24 hours ago. So this is yesterday. And this story has been made public. So yesterday, Jackie, who lives on the 5th floor, went to apparently buy soda. And she didn't lock her door. Majority of us don't. So she got back home. Kama kawaida, there's always this sixth sense that you get, especially when you've been in an abusive relationship. You check under the seat, you check the bathroom, you check and such. So she checked her house all over until she got to the bedroom. And that's where she found Stanley waiting for her. Stanley proceeded to attack her, slash her face with a Maasai sword. So it later emerged after this issue was highlighted yet again is that Stanley had been tracking Jackie and had moved to the flat where she was staying and had been monitoring her movements. And the police have finally arrested Stanley, and he's expected to be taking plea in court. And one lady called Cynthia Njoroge. This story has been highlighted on the Usikimye page, KE. So if you want to find out if indeed it is factual, because we have checked, it is factual. This is a matter that has been reported, and this is a young woman who will never be the same again after that ordeal with X.
Wow.
Yeah.
The anxiety, the fear, in as much as he might be arrested, the anxiety, the fear in her will continue to live on. And you know, these are just multiple abuses, because by the time she was leaving, she had been abused severally in those 8 years. And
perhaps that guy was up to something quite dangerous, because had it not for that, then this lady probably would have been killed. You know, it's a story the same way you've put it. People react to ukiachwa, to loss differently. And perhaps he was feeling, okay, let me speak from a man's point of view. Most men do not know how to react to when they're left. We feel that our ego has been crushed or cracked in such a way. We still feel that sense of entitlement. I'm the one who's supposed to come to you. If I want to leave, I'm the one to leave. You get it? And when it comes to me, it pains. You get it? So probably this man was suffering from something that probably akipelekwa ndani, he will come back to his senses and he'll tone down. And now this lady, she's done so much to change her number, to move to a different neighborhood. You know, she did her best. But, you know,
and you know, actually, there was a piece on the Daily Nation yesterday where it was looking at concerns around gender-based violence and the fear that victims live with when their perpetrators are roaming about free.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can imagine, this is just one of the cases that we get to hear about. How many go unheard of? How many go where the perpetrator gets to walk away with a crime that they committed? The victim maybe dies, is maimed, their life is compromised.
What I know is that some scars will never heal. You see, the ones we see, if today, God forbid us to walk here, actually, I don't think I would have made it to the set, because Jane would have asked me, why, Regina, you have a black eye, you know? But the scars that are not seen, the deep wounds that we cover in our clothes and our demeanors. Because if someone was to hit me on my back or my tummy, you wouldn't know. You'd maybe notice that I'm having difficulty sitting, but you wouldn't know that I'm bearing a scar. The emotional scars that are left to survivors, these are scars that even affect the way they relate to other people going forward. Even if they were to meet someone who genuinely loves them, it will take patience and God's grace to actually come back and learn to trust again. And that's why when you talk about issues of gender-based violence, actually, it's not just about women who are hurting. Even men are hurting. And we need to be alive to this, especially as a society, at a time like this especially. I don't know what is happening, because this is Jackie's story. Some 2 weeks ago, a man died because the girlfriend stabbed him. Yeah? People are killing.
It's called moment of madness.
Temporary insanity.
I don't know what is happening. Please, if it is not working, walk away.
Yeah.
Just walk. There's nothing that is worth under this sun more than your life. And that life that you're maiming or taking is not yours to take because you did not give it. You are not entitled to anyone else's life ever, and nothing will justify that. And I want to read a tweet that you've already gotten here from a viewer, that is Mohia Wabima. He says, I was walking home and some drunkard was telling me, if your wife leaves you, look for extra large bras and other big clothes for a lady and put them on the clothing line, and trust you, the neighbors will tell her and she'll come back.
No. I think they're better ways.
That is their view. So we have opened up this conversation. People, we're talking about grave matters, but I mean, we say we will not judge you. Well, and that drunkard who told you that. But there's also another tweet that I want to highlight, and it is in totally bad taste. It is actually trending on a platform here, which is Facebook. And Kenyans have been asked to actually be wary of this person who bears this account. I'm trying to find that. I might have lost it there. But it talks about the feeling of entitlement, especially where partners are concerned. So this is a tweet put out by Kama Wakeno. I don't know if you've come upon it. Let this be on social media. But kwa ground, mimi dame, twende date. I spend money. Alafu akatai. You know what I mean. This is the national broadcaster. We're not going to give the details to that. Mimi nitaingisha chupa ya Guinness atembe kama bat. Let's finish. This is a national broadcaster. And now this particular post has been put out on social media, and human rights activists have started a campaign, hashtag say no to gender violence. So if you're watching KBC Channel 1, and I totally believe that this a national broadcaster will never side with gender-based violence, whether male or female, it doesn't matter. Violence is violence. If you may be knowing this person, there may be a danger to the next person next to them. Because if you can afford to put it out there, then it seems you have thought about it.
Yes.
You might hurt someone's daughter, aunt, or mom.
And also sometimes chances are they might have done it before, only that it wasn't in the light the way it's coming out. Because by the time you get even the strength and courage to write it the way you're writing it, and the sense of entitlement you have as a person that you can do whatever you want to, just because.
If this was my brother, and I'm saying it because I have 4 brothers, if this was my brother, I would call them out. Because that's not way to think about someone else's child. And these are the type of people we are breeding. And these are the people who we are letting get away with so much. And we're talking about gender-based violence here. It does not know gender, actually, because it's male, female. It doesn't really matter. So Jane, take over from that. It's quite unfortunate.
It's unfortunate how we are using social media these days. You know, we always say social media is a double-edged sword. It's good and can be a monster. So how you choose to use it, please be responsible. Remember, in as much as it's your space, the consequences will always catch up with you. Everything is a choice and everything has consequences. On that note, we want to put a cap on Good Morning Kenya. We want to say thank you for staying with us through and through from Monday up until now. We want to call it a week, but we always appreciate you for staying with us. I am Jane Wamboi.
And I'm Regina Amanyara.
I'm Dorina Rangi.
And I'm Victor Law. Always remember, stay safe, be good, and peace begins with you.
Peace.
Much love.
Adios.